Hello PLP Geometry, welcome to Unit 1, Video 6, covering perpendicular and again bisector. So again, we are still within Unit 1. As I said, a lot of vocab here in Unit 1, so try to keep it straight for the entire year. Right, so we're just reintroducing you in some aspects and introducing you in others to our geometric terminology. And again, this is video number 6. It's going to talk about perpendicular, and also bisector, sector. Okay? All right, so let's talk about perpendicular lines. Perpendicular lines. Okay, so when we have two lines that intersect to form right angles, they are perpendicular. I think sometimes people think perpendicular means just intersecting or just crossing, but they don't, right? Perpendicular lines are two lines that intersect, yes, that intersect to form right angles. And again, so important, right angles. And hopefully you remember from right angles video that a right angle is 90 degrees. So let's draw a quick picture here. So I'm going to draw a line L, just going side to side. Again, I usually go horizontally and vertically just to kind of, make it easy on us. And now I'm going to draw a line M. So if my line L is going horizontal, then perpendicular, that would have to be vertical, up and down. So here's line M. Now, right now I know nothing. Right? I know that line L and M cross, but I don't know that they're perpendicular because there's not a special symbol. You need to be told they're perpendicular or have this box. That box signifies that that's going to be a right angle. That box actually makes all of those angles right angles, and I think we'll talk more about that as we get into some more special angle pairs later on. But again, that means perpendicular because of that right box. We would write that L is perpendicular to upside down T to M, and that is our symbolism for L being perpendicular to M. So when you see two lines cross or intersect, don't use the word perpendicular. They are intersecting lines. But when you see that right angle box, then they are perpendicular. Okay, so now let's put the word bisector and let's talk about what a perpendicular bisector is. So from our last two videos, you should know that bisector means splits into two congruent things or equal things. So what we're doing now is we're just adding the right angle idea onto it. So this thing, this geometric object is going to do two things. So this thing can be a line, can be a segment, or it can be a ray that is perpendicular to a segment. And let's recall that that means we have right angles involved. Right, so this word perpendicular. So it does two things. It's perpendicular to a segment and now the bisector part, and divides the segment into two congruent segments. And that then means we're talking about the midpoint too, right? Because it has to go through the midpoint of the segment. And again, two congruent segments. So a lot of implications here, right? A lot. Okay, so let's draw two lines. This time I'm going to use letters, two letters to describe those lines. Or not two lines. Let's draw a segment and a line. So let's draw segment AB, and this time I'm going to challenge myself by making a little bit angled. So now I want to draw a line, and we're going to call this line EF, that's going to be perpendicular and bisect AB. So what I would do first is let's draw the midpoint M. Okay? And I'll put an M right there off to the side here. So that's point M. And now I got to kind of turn my neck a little bit and see perpendicular. I'm going to draw this line L going like this. And I'm making one side a little bit longer. Oh, a little bit too close. A little bit longer than the other side for a reason. Okay, that's supposed to be an error. I just can't do it because of the tools there. So I'm going to call this point E, and I'll call this point F. And again, to signify that it's bisecting, I need to put the two congruent marks here and here. Okay, so what this picture is showing me, this is showing me that line EF is the perpendicular and again, you'll see me use the upside down T, so is the perpendicular bisector of segment AB. Right? Notice the different terminology. Which one's the line? Which one's the segment? Right? Now, very important here, and the reason why I drew that line a little bit longer. Oh, I'm sorry. Perpendicular. Miss Chappell, you got to draw the right angle box. Thank you. Okay. Good. Now we know it's perpendicular. The reason I drew the line a little bit longer is because I do not want you to confuse this and reverse the statement. You cannot reverse this statement. Okay? So, cannot reverse statement. So we cannot say not segment AB is the perpendicular bisector of line EF. You can't say this. No, not. Not. So don't think it's reversible. Okay? The reason is majority-wise is that lines have no midpoint. So lines have no midpoint. So if it goes on forever, can't do anything. If I had space below, I would go below, but I don't. So again, if I were you, put it down here, but I'm going to come up to here in my little space here. I'm just going to change colors just to not confuse you with the other writing. So I'm going to change here. So again, if I had space down there, I would, but I'm going to come up here. So two statements I want to make based off of the fact that it's the perpendicular bisector. Number one, we know that line EF is perpendicular to segment AB. So what this means is all of the angles at M, the vertex. So for instance, angle FMB. So FMB, this angle that I have marked, is a right angle. Run out of room quickly. Is a right angle. And that means that it has a measure of 90 degrees. The measure of angle FMB equals 90 degrees. And again, hopefully you're doing it down here. The second thing I would write down, and I'll erase this, I guess I could have erased the other one, is the fact that because it is the bisector, you know that you have congruent segments. So the second thing is we know that segment AM is congruent to segment MB on segment AB, which then forces, and again you can go down with this too, I'm just going to go to the right, which forces that AM is equal to MB. Perpendicular bisector. It plays two roles in your picture. All right, perfect. Okay. Thanks for watching. Again, try to keep this stuff to memory, and we'll see you next time.